What's up, everyone? Hey, new week, new conversation. Hello. Welcome to Voices Gathering Live with your hosts. I am Diamond. Hello, hello, hello to all my viewers out there, those of you who are already in the conversation chat room, and those of you yet to come. Hello. Welcome to a new conversation. How is everyone doing? Hello, Naomi, my girl. Hope you're doing well. It's good to see you in the chat, Naomi. I'm not going to delay. I like to give people time. The countdown of the clock always starts. I try to blast out people as much as I can to let you know it's showtime. So thank you so much for you who show up on time. We're going to start like in 1 minute, like 6:03. We're just going there, right? I don't want to keep you guys too long, but I want to have a good conversation. Last week we had a great conversation, and this is a continuation, part two of that conversation. So let me get the house rules out the way, right? So you know that, and let me just welcome everyone. You know that when you come into the room, the thumbs up button is your key. That is you unlocking the room to join the conversation. So please always enter to the room, click that thumbs up button. I'm sure you're going to enjoy the conversation if you allow yourself to just be in the moment, right? Don't be too far ahead. Don't be stuck in something else. Just be right here and enjoy the conversation with me. Get involved in the chat. Many of you are on your phone. Kind of hard to kind of text really a lot. It's always good to kind of get on your laptops or iPads, whatever you use, just to kind of get involved in that conversation. At some point, we're going to be doing many other things with this platform, but right now, this is what we're using. So please just use this space. Thumbs up button. Always know that when you are in the conversation room, is question and answer. If you got a question for me, throw it out there. If you got a question for someone else, keep doing that. Ask the question, confirm someone's thought. Get involved. I'm really curious about what you think when I bring these conversations to you via this platform. As always, keep in mind, you can always find us here, right? You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and even on TikTok. I'm always posting daily gems for the day. It's very inspirational, thought provoking. For you and others. So, you can always follow us that way. What's up, iRob? It's always good to see you too. Always. Okay. Listen, let's delve right into this conversation. I got the house rules out of the way. You know where you are. You are at the infamous Voices Gathering Live podcast show that happens every Monday at 6 p.m. I'm really encouraging you guys also, please start going to the website. I'm really trying to get traction going that way. You can always go to the website and then click the tab where it says live show, and it'll bring you right here to the platform. It's just really a lot of ways to get involved with the conversation. Look out for that merchandise coming real soon. And we got so many things coming, so many announcements. And I don't want to take up a lot of times with the announcements here, but, unless you are going to the website where you can get all this information, I have to remind you here. So don't be bored with it. It's just protocol. Okay. Now, let's get into this real conversation. So last week I opened up the conversation about what a nuclear family is, and what the status, the state of a nuclear family. We are really in different times compared to. Hello, Alice. Nice to see you. I know you won't be here long because you have something to attend, but it's good. It's also good to see you also in the chat. Again, the nuclear family. We were talking about this last week. It was a very interesting conversation. Many of you have really good feedback. Many of you shared some personal testimonies about your nuclear family or the brokenness of a nuclear family that you grew up in. And I felt like, wow, this is worth talking about. And even if people wasn't talking, this is something we should be talking about, because what we know the nuclear family to be, or what we was told it would look like, has changed over many years. I'm talking about many years. The nuclear family that we grew up knowing is not what it is now. It's not. It's not. And that is why I want to talk about the evolution of the nuclear family in 2023, because it looks very, very different. But Are the values of the nuclear family different from when it was 1960, 1950? Are those values different? What do you think? I'm curious. And many of you who may visit this show don't know. But if you're doing your reading, if you went to high school, if you went to college, then you understand the dynamic of a family system and what the family system looks like. And now today, when you look at family systems, if you are my generation and you look at the family system, you are scratching your head and saying, well, something is very off and something is very different. And I'm curious, or I am concerned about the difference in the family system to what it used to be like, or what your grandparents told you it was like, right? As you saw, I in the intro slide, I actually had shared some different looks of what the nuclear family is, and I'll bring that in here now. So, right, so this is very different of the nuclear family back in the 1950s. And you know what? Just for giggles, let me go back a second. Okay, so I don't care what your race is. Many of us were given this picture of a family system. Even if you grew up with, if you are Afro-American, Latino, Middle Eastern, you grew up with both of your parents in the home or both grandparents in the home, you had a picture or an idea what the nuclear family looks like. You do. You do. Trust me. However, when you watch TVs, if you were a 70s baby, yeah, definitely a 70s, 60s baby, then this is what was painted for us. This is what a family system looked like, right? This is what media wanted to show us. This is what a nuclear family looks like. When you see that, and then people were seeing, and I know this is from a show, but still there was a lot of people who did not. Hello, Lakeisha, nice to see you. There was a lot of people. Oh, wow. Hello, Trina Scorpion. Haven't seen you in a long time. Welcome to the show. It's good to see some new names in the chat. This here was not considered to be a nuclear family. For some people. For me, absolutely, it was a nuclear family. It had a mom and a dad. It had children raised under the same roof. It had community, people who lived in the community that was like family bond and looked out for one another. So this was a nuclear family, the definition of a nuclear family. But let's be clear, again, for many people, this was the ideal nuclear family. Mom and dad married, lived behind a white picket fence, had 1 or 2 children, preferably 2 to 3. This is the definition of what the nuclear family is defined as. Hopefully a boy and a girl. Now, if you get 3 and you got 2 boys and 1 girl, 2 girls and 1 boy, this was the definition of a nuclear family. But we are now in 2023. And as I stated, this is the new nuclear family and what it looks like. This is what it looks like. And I'm hoping you guys can actually see this. So I want to, let me just make it a little larger so you can really fully see this picture. Okay, so this is what the nuclear family now looks like. Let's be very clear. This is what it looks like now. And I want you to pay close attention to the picture, right? Because in this picture, you see 2 men with 2 children, 2 little babies. You see 2 women, one of them are pregnant. You see a man and a woman embracing a newborn. You also see a man and a woman look to be in some thought, deep thought for that matter. So I'm asking each and every one of you who are in the chat, what do you think about the nuclear family now? What do you think now you see in 2023 same-sex couples, 2 men, 2 women, 2 women, 1 man, and children? What do you think? What are your thoughts about the nuclear family? The white picket fence looks different, period. Okay. I'm sure you can expound more on that, but I get where you're going with that, Trina. I get that. But what do you think about this? Do you think the new, and I hate to say new because truth be told, this family system that we're talking about has existed for a very, very, very long time. It has existed for a very long time. And it's just now accepted. There were couples, same sex couples, many years ago. I'm talking about the 1930s, hiding, trying to have a family system, raise children, but hide behind closed doors because, of course, during that time, same sex relationships was not acceptable. Therefore, if you was raising children in a same-sex relationship household, that was considered somewhat for many people abuse of children because it was damaging to children. So my question to you is, do you think the new look of the nuclear family, this evolution of the nuclear family now, do you think that we are more at risk, more harm as a family system? Or do you think with the new acceptance of what a nuclear family looks like now is actually the way to go? What are your thoughts? I'm curious. What are your thoughts? As time evolved, so has the nuclear family. Yes, we know that. Absolutely. And that's part of this conversation. This is 2023. This is definitely not 1923. Right? It's not. So, with that being said, all these years later, do you believe that the nuclear family right now is in a better place or not? Because I like to open up the conversation with just getting your feedback because I do the research. I'm reading all kind of articles and I'm telling you, the articles make you scratch your head. Like, okay, there are people that saying that the new nuclear family is actually what is causing the family system to break down. And then there's people that says, well, that's not true. This new evolution of a nuclear family is actually what's increasing the family values. I was just reading some articles, and articles were saying that children who are raised in a same-sex relationship home, those children fare the same, if not better, than children raised by a heterosexual parents in the same home. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think that that's actually true or not true? Some people are really scared to have these kind of conversations about, well, I don't want to step on people's toes. I don't know why we're flashing here. I don't want to step on people's toes. I don't want to sound like I'm judging. But why can't we have an honest conversation about what we think, what our views are, and some of the things that we are concerned about without people being so sensitive about us sharing our thoughts and opinions? This show is about that. It's about you having a free space to share your thoughts and opinion about the topic at hand. Or if you want to bring in a conversation piece that actually marries to this conversation, you're welcome to do that. I work in the field of counseling, and trust me, when I'm sitting right here before you, I'm thinking, okay, if you say this, if someone ever sees your show, would they come across saying that, you know what, she's this and she's that? Well, no. Because truth be told, I'm very unapologetic and very transparent. And I believe there's no topic off the I just lost my train of thought. Off the there's no subject off topic. There I go. There's none. We can talk about everything. It's not what you say, but it's how you say it. And many people don't understand that. So we are going to be talking about people of same sex raising children, and are those individuals in that family homeostasis environment causing more damage to the family nuclear system or actually improving it? What are your thoughts? And let me check out your comments here. Lakeisha said, I wouldn't say a better place. Can you, Lakeisha, share a little bit more? What do you mean by, I wouldn't say a better place? And it may be something that I was saying early on. And this, keep talking, guys. But this is the thing. When I'm not going to go into the structure of the show. So sometime I may be talking about something, or I'll make a comment, and I'll see your comment, and I may be already moved on from that, but I don't mind coming back to it. So you sometimes have to just kind of remind me exactly at what point were you making or referencing that. Okay, so let's see what Naomi said. Who comes to this country escape prosecution for better economic reason? Who comes to this country to escape persecution or for better economic reasons? Rob, you're saying, okay, Naomi, there you go. Oh, let's go back to Rob. As long as a child is loved and raised right, it doesn't matter what the makeup of the family is. Okay? And Naomi says, yes, Rob, as long as the family is loving and the members of that family is taken care of. Although you say that, and there are people that are agreeing to Rob's comment, there are people that's saying the opposite. They're saying that two men, two women, a trans couple, oh my goodness, there's so many of the spectrum of sexuality has grown so broad and so it's hard to keep up. So I don't want to use the wrong language, but there's people that's saying that no, it's actually hurting the nuclear family, because again, remember, by definition from the beginning of what they say is time, is that the nuclear family has always consisted of a man, a woman, and children. It has never consisted until in recent years, two men, two women, trans couple, and so forth. And I cannot wait to have the conversation about this whole topic about the LGBTQIA plus and all of the labels. There's much to talk about that. So, yes. Anyway. We got a little message. Let me see. Yes. Thank you. I see that now. Thank you so much for that. I love it. Thank you so much for the help out on the back end. Yes, I see that. Just, I want us to really just pay attention to this. You are now in 2023. You live in an environment, whether it's on your block, in your community, whether you go to church with someone, you are, whether you know it or not, you are around people who are actually in same-sex relationships and raising children. And many people believe that doing that, you're doing more harm to that child or children because of your decision. And many people look at those families as not a nuclear family. Trust me when I tell you, I'll be holding back of sharing my opinion because I don't want to jump too far ahead of you guys. I have my thoughts about this. Okay, so let's see. I just got a message. Sorry about that. Okay, let me look. So let me go back and look at Naomi's comment. First, I see here Naomi says, and the single parent can't be left out. And the single parent can't be left out, going down, who comes to this country to escape persecution for a better economic reason. So Naomi, is that the part that you're talking about the individual and the single parent can't be left out? So I can take that a few ways. Excuse me. going to, this chair is working me. So I'm actually going to be here and this way. I get where you're now. I get it. I get it. I get it. Disclaimer. I do not. I do most of. Wait. Disclaimer. I do most have an issue with love, family, and supporting others' viewpoints or what makes them happy and thrive. I do not. Okay. I mean, this is good that you don't have. Okay, hold on. Keeping up with the chat, boy. I tell you, wait, let me see something. I'm getting a message, guys. So hold on one second. Someone is pointing something out to me, and I need to see that. So hold on. Hold on. I hate the silent moment, but okay. I Rob, you says, as long as the child, as long as the child is loved and raised right, it doesn't matter what the makeup of the family. Going down, I wouldn't say a better place. Sorry, guys. About putting people in boxes. So where's iRob's question or statement about putting people in boxes? That is the continuation of a previous chat above. Because people have their own. Listen, the person that's texting me, you can actually call me. It's fine. Because I feel like I'm missing something. Unless it's just not showing up on my end. But please feel free to call me. It's quite okay. But please call me. All the messages are coming in. Anyway, so yes, I want to get back to that. And the person who's texting me, please call me because I don't want to miss your question. It's quite okay. That's something that we also are offering. I will resend. Thank you so much. Please resend it. All right. Again, many of you are saying this here that, well, it doesn't matter. As long as a child is raised in a healthy environment by two parents or the parent that loves them, it doesn't matter what the gender of the person is. So I want you to keep this thought broad and open, right? It's not just small. We can't just talk about a small thing here. It's not something isolated and small. This is really bigger than what you think it is. We're looking at a couple things. We're looking at the nuclear family. We're looking at the nuclear family from a homosexual perspective. We're looking at the nuclear family from a heterosexual perspective. And then we're looking at the nuclear family as outer and broader than that. Because as gender for many people has evolved, or identifying one's gender has evolved, children are raised in those environments or connected to those environments. And because they're raised or connected to those environments, and people are looking at a nuclear family as by definition of a man and a woman, the question is posed to each of you. Is the new way of looking at a nuclear family doing more damage, or actually is evolving in a better way? I get the disclaimer that we are saying, listen, if you are thriving and you're happy, I don't have any qualms about that. But truth be told, there's people making really big decisions. There are many people looking for lawmakers to put in place things that could be done and not done when it comes to this very topic. And that's why it's posed to you today. Okay, so let's look and see. Okay, that is the second part of my response to your question. Okay, thank you. I got it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. So again, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Many of us work in environments where we have to put aside our own biases. We have to put aside our own thoughts and say, okay, I'm not going to judge this. I'm here to service whatever it is I need to do. So, what are your thoughts? Because when you go home, you have just worked with or been connected to and or observed something looks very different than what you grew up in. Let me go here. So my views is this. I agree with you that a child raised in a home with a loving parent or parents who are in this a same-sex relationship, I don't have any problem with that. Period. I'm not even putting I have no problem with that at all. I do not believe that same-sex relationships are the cause of the the collapse of the nuclear family. No. Because if we go back, and I want to, again, with some research, I just want you to read something to you, and I want you to understand that many people are trying to sell us that one of the reasons the nuclear family isn't surviving is because of the evolution of families and what it looks like now in 2023. And truth be told, that's not the reason why, in my opinion, the nuclear family has fallen to the wayside. Here are some of the reasons why. I looked at an article going back a couple of years. I was looking for something more recent, but this one stood out to me. It was in 2019. So you can best believe the research data has increased. Here, this is what it says. It says too many children experience hurt from a broken bonds at an early age. About 35%, now more people in 2023 of American adolescents live without one of their parents, and around 40% of American children are born outside of marriage. Outside of marriage. So let's pause there for a second. Before lawmakers approved that there could be same-sex marriages, many of those individuals who were in relationships but didn't have the right to marry were now trying to have a family of their own and actually give something that many people who are heterosexual weren't giving. But due to lawmakers not agreeing with at that time with same-sex couples having the right to marry, that child, whether that person came into the relationship with a child or they got a surrogate and had a child or whatever it was, now that child would also be just like the heterosexual nuclear family situation. Now that child would not have the opportunity to be raised by two parents who are married in there, but it would have to settle for cohabitating because at that time the rights to marry was not afforded to them. But we know that's different now, right? Keep moving. Although these kids' parents are usually in relationships or even cohabitating at birth, mom and dad often break up while the child is still young. This is a contributing factor to why children grow up with a lot of stressors, dysfunction because of this dynamic of the broken nuclear family system. Keep that in mind. Of course, if a biological parent of a child split up, the child in question will usually continue to reside with the mother. We see that oftentimes. And although many of the children continue to have close relationships with their father, these are the exceptions and not the rule, especially when it comes to children whose parents were never married in the first place. I see that often. So again, what I'm just reading to you are some of the major factors for me, in my opinion, and this is just Diamond's opinion. You may disagree on why the nuclear family is falling down. Is why the nuclear family is falling. The bottom is just falling out of it because a lot of people are choosing to cohabitate. I just had a thought. Cohabitate instead of making a commitment. Keyword, people, a commitment. I think the word commitment when it comes to starting a family, let me back up. Getting married, let me back up. Dating with purpose. And this is something I had on one of my shows before. Go back and check out some of the previous shows. Dating with purpose. Purpose is to eventually get married and start that union. And then from there, bring on a family. It's very different now. Very different. And we'll talk about that if we have time. Continuing what I was reading to you. In other words, the problem of broken families is interchangeable and with fatherlessness. Simply put, father's absence are now the widespread phenomena of children who has no relationship with or even knowledge of a biological family. Only 9%, which is greater now because, again, this article was older, but so relevant. Only 9% of children were raised without their fathers in 1960. Yet today, quarter of American kids, more than quarter of American kids now, are raised without their fathers. The consequences are far outnumbered and concerning. This is what the article is saying. Family structure and poverty goes hand in hand. I know many lawmakers are putting into place that impact how we make money, the minimum wage and all those different things. Yes. But when we're talking about the family structure and the economic that goes with that family structure, they play hand in hand. Listen to what this says. First, families breakdown fuels poverty. The nuclear family, be it same-sex relationships or heterosexual relationships, when the family system breaks down, that is a big contributing factor to the poverty of that family. I want you to keep that in mind. Let me check out the chats because I don't want to go too far. But now that I'm giving you information, I wanted you to think first without me giving you this research or this information or sharing my opinion and just hear what your thoughts are. I see okay. So there's a person in the chat by the name of Eugene Chambers. I think I know the individual, recognize the name, but welcome Eugene to the show. Welcome to the show. Glad you were able to join us. So let me just go back a second and see what some of you are saying here. Lakeisha. Okay, Naomi, let me go back. Sorry. And they come to the U.S. and did not fit in the mold at the time. I see. This is a continuation of what you're talking about, Naomi. I get it. That happens to a lot of people who come from different countries to the United States. And the United States, we can be bullies. We tend to want to, not everybody. So if the shoe don't fit, don't wear it. We tend to want to enforce our rules and ways onto people and say, you must adapt this because you come here. Oftentimes we are closed off to other people's cultures. It takes a lot of breaking down for people, cultures and norms for them to be accepted here. And I get it. Someone said to me, well, you're coming here to the States, so you need to learn the language. You're coming here to the States, so you need to adopt our way of living. I understand that thought to some degree, but I also believe that we need to keep an open mind that, we are not the model for everybody. Trust me, born, raised in this country, we are not the model for everybody. Actually, I think we got a lot of work to do ourselves before we start telling people what they should and should not be doing. Let's be very clear. Oh, I knew that was Miss Naomi's husband. Hi, Eugene. Thank you for getting one of my shirts some time ago. I hope you're rocking that shirt. It's a little dated now, We need to get you a new shirt. But thank you so much for joining the conversation. It's nice to see you here. Really appreciate you. Okay. Yes, let's go back. So, Miss Lakeisha says, I worked in child welfare and my non biased views are because I believe in treating people with respect. People have a human right to live their truth, not society's. Okay, well put. Um, Before I go to Eugene, let me see what else is it. I worked in I work with children who are in need of forever homes, need to be adopted or some form of long-term care. I am not concerned with what two consenting adults do in their bed. Yes, well put, Lakeisha. Well put. And you also stated with a child being in foster care for years without permanency. Well put. And I know Lakeisha, and I know what kind of work she's very good at doing and come from. But I want you guys to share your own thoughts. Now, Eugene, the nuclear family was seen as an innate perfect family, so the mindset encouraged exclusive and poor self-esteem. Yes. Mm-hmm. Very true. Very, very true. LOL. Yes, we need to order new merchandise. We have good arguments going on at home. Okay. Okay. Yes, we got to get everybody some new merchandise, and I shared it. Check out some of the other shows, and you'll see it. I got some nice stuff, and that will be helping the show. But the comments are very much true, and this is what many people are struggling with. Many people are struggling with accepting what the new nuclear family looks like now. They are very much stuck in the old way of the nuclear family, and many of us are turning up our nose and looking at, well, why these two people or these two men, and where is the mom, and where's the or where's the dad where these two women are together. And truth be told, we need to have conversations. We need to have conversations. I am looking to have guests on the show that are coming from same-sex relationships and their views of their nuclear family. And I'm looking for a heterosexual couple to come onto the show and share their views of the nuclear family. And again, we can't have the conversation, or we cannot have an understanding until we have the conversation. We must have the conversation. Must. There's many people that's saying that the how could you have this conversation about same-sex relationships and the nuclear family system as it looks today without bringing in religion in it, or doctrine in it, or biblical context in it? Because many people argument is very much that, well, wait a minute, the Bible says that God had created man and woman, and therefore man and woman should be the only definition of a nuclear family, and not this new, I don't want to call it and not just new evolution of the nuclear family. Stick with the topic. Let's be clear. Many people are struggling with that. And the comment I'm going to make now does not apply to every religion, every church, every synagogue, every place of worship. It doesn't apply to everyone. But I want to tell you that I think many people's views of religion, many people's views of religion has really caused more damage than it did good by way of this topic. Do you know, for many years, and going back and taking a little bit of what Lakeisha was mentioning in her comment, if we just took away our own biases about same-sex couples starting their nuclear family and treating it as such, if we had took away our own biases many years ago, do you know that I believe there would have been more children in healthy homes, loving homes, supportive homes than aging out in this foster care system? Oh, okay. Sorry. People are sending me a message on the outside. I think that, again, there would be more children not aging out, but actually aging in a family dynamic. But because people couldn't understand that a loving home is just that, a loving home, and that our views about a nuclear family has changed over time. Let's just remove the LGBTQIA plus community out of the equation for a second. Just know that the nuclear family had been evolving over time. Let's look at, for an example, Will and Jada. That nuclear family system is different. Will was once married. He had a son with his first wife. That marriage dissolved. He married Jada. Jada gave him 2 children. Jada became the bonus mom to Will's son Trey. Cherie, which is Trey's mother, now gets along with Jada. So this nuclear family has grown greater, and for the right reason, because who was the primary concern? It was Trey, their son, Will and Cherie's son. And Jada understanding and respecting that. So now, not only do Trey have his mother and father, but he has a bonus mom, and he has extended, I'm not going to call it extended. He has a brother and a sister as well. And we don't hear much about their kids of not being unhealthy, if I can use that. So we really need to think about how we are judging people and how they raise their children. I haven't had so many pings in my life. My goodness. I am a Christian, but I will not judge because that God, I'm sorry, because not everyone believes the same. Okay, going now. The next comment by Lakeisha is, I'm a Christian, but I will not judge because that is God's job and not mine. Yes. Oh, I'm telling you, this conversation can go deep. It really can go deep, deeper than where we are, because when we say we don't judge, and Lakeisha, I know you don't judge. You're just not a judging person in that way. You're not. So I get where you're coming from, but many people don't know you, Lakeisha. So many people, when we say we don't judge, I think sometimes we do, but I get it for this context. I think sometimes we do. I think we all judge. Let me just say it. I think we all judge. But how are we judging is the question. Are we judging with our nose in the air and saying we know better and that this is the right way to do this, and that if you don't do it this way, this is a problem? Or are we judging and saying, well, I'm judging the situation and I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I don't think there's anything wrong with 2 men raising healthy children or 2 women raising healthy children. I don't think there's anything wrong with a man and, let me use this one. So I was watching this video, and I forgot what it was. A news station that did I'm so mad I can't find it, and I can't share it anyway due to copyrights. But I was watching this video of two same-sex men who wanted to start a family, and the 2 husbands. One of the husband went to his sister and asked his sister if she would donate her egg. And the husband, who's not the brother to the sister fertilized the egg. But the sister didn't carry the egg. The egg was implanted in the sibling's mother, if that makes sense. And I know there's a lot of, follow me now, two men, the brother and sister had a conversation. She offered her egg. He then went to his husband and says, you fertilized the egg. The two of them agreed, along with the sister who gave the egg, that mom, which would be the child's grandmother, would carry the baby and deliver the baby. What are your thoughts about that? Because again, we're talking about nuclear family and how it looks, and it's different now. And many people, especially in same-sex relationships, have to take different avenues to actually become parents. What are your thoughts? Get off your high horse. Okay, Lakeisha. I'm talking about this topic. Judging is simply that, judging. Thought the discussion was from a negative perspective. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm talking about this topic. Judging is simply that, judging. I thought the discussion was from a negative perspective. Oh. Many people are going to have negative perspective about this very topic. I want to have people on this show to talk about their transparency and their truth. And a lot of people are just saying, you know what? It's just not accepted by this person. It's not accepted by this group of people. Or I go to this church. It's not accepted at my church. I can't actually say this. A lot of people are not, they're opting not to go to around family. They're opting not to go to places of worship. They're opting not to go back to old communities because of the fear of, now that we are parents, raising our child in that environment. We're not seen as the model nuclear family. Therefore, we just kind of withdraw from that, or we move to a totally different country where it is accepted. See, when we know better, we do better, and we have to do better. We just have to do better, because what we've been doing for a very long time isn't working. It's causing more damage. I don't think that same-sex people are the damage to their children. I think people outside of those relationships are the one that's causing more damage to the children. If we raise our kids to actually look at it from this perspective, so when you send your child to school and that child comes from a same-sex parents and your child comes from mom and dad, what are you teaching your child? When two daddies show up to school or two mommies show up to school, what are you teaching your child? That's their parents. Or are you saying, or you're not saying anything at all? I don't know. What are you saying? All I know is that we need to do things different. And we need to be open. Do your homework. Open your mind. Stop closing off your mind. Stop being stuck in Stone Age about these things. This is the new time. And you could be, no one's asking you to sleep with these people. No one's asking you to break bread with them. What people are asking for is that you respect their decisions to raise their family. Do not discount that they are a nuclear family. If everything stayed the same forever, nothing will change, people. Nothing's going to change. If the nuclear family stayed the same from the beginning of time, what would this place look like? I think I would be more concerned that we're not evolving. Biblically, it is not acceptable. Yes, that's what the Bible says. The Bible says a whole lot of things. And this is the fear of bringing that part of that into the equation of the conversation. When we start saying, okay, now people are talking from a biblical term of it. You can't have two fathers raising kids. What are you doing? It's a man and a woman. But we got more people cohabitating, making babies, and don't even stay in those relationships. And two same-sex people get into relationships for the most part, and they stay and those relationships throughout the rest of their lives. Not all, but you get where I'm going. How can people who are not perfect judge people who they think is not perfect? I don't get it. How could we judge when we're imperfect? I don't know a perfect mom or dad who raised perfect children in this land. I don't. So how could you stand in judgment of another family who is doing a damn good job? I'm just saying. Religion is a huge contributor to political institutions, economics, and absolutely affects laws and how we view our people and society. Yes, change needs to happen towards inclusion. Well said. Well, where you been, Mr. Eugene, all this time? Thank you so much for that intellectual comment. Thanks. I really appreciate it. I agree. Absolutely. I agree. I do. I agree. I'm just not in a position to judge. If I'm going to judge something, I want to judge to say that the child or those children are, they are loved. They're supported. I see more children not like that than I don't want to digress. Okay. This is deeper than same-sex relationships, but what about race and culture? This is deeper than same-sex relationships, but what about race and culture? As it relates to the nuclear family, Lakeisha, can you just say yes? Because I think that's what you're asking. I just want to make sure I'm reading your question right. Because it is religion, culture, it is same-sex, it's all of that. Same-sex relationship individuals come into these situations with culture and religion. There are a lot of them who are who believe in God and believe in Allah and believe in Buddha, whatever they believe in something higher than themselves or greater than themselves from their point of view. Many cultures. Let's talk about the culture. I mean, listen, you talk about the culture of nuclear family as a person of African descent. When I read about the nuclear family and the village, oh boy, that was big for us. That was absolutely big. It was something that I grew up knowing. That it's the village. It wasn't just mom and dad. It was the village. As a kid from the 80s, when I tell you that the community felt like a village, every decade, every season, every year, people have gripes and all that stuff. Yeah, that's life, right? Yes. But for the most part, I grew up in a community that felt like a village. And I'm sure there were same-sex couples hiding during those times because during the 80s, for some, they just could not allow themselves to be out there because not only the fear of rejection, but also for the fear of being harmed. Yes. Yes, I see. I mean, this is greater. It's greater. And here's the thing. When I'm talking about, thank you for confirming that, Lakeisha. Um, okay. Thank you for confirming that. This is greater, deeper. It's this conversation for the most part is more surface. We would be here forever trying to really get to the crutches of understanding the nuclear family in 2023. Imagine if it looks like this now. What would it look like in 2032? What will it look like? Because truth be told, although things feel like it took a long time to evolve or change or acceptance for a lot of people, we're moving relatively swiftly. Things have changed so fast, in my opinion. Really. To the point it's scary. And I'm not talking about scary when it comes to same-sex couple. Again, this is about the nuclear family and how it looks very different. But I'm talking about scary on so many levels. You know what's scary? When I see a child abandoned by his parents or abandoned by her parents. You know what's scary? When I see fathers, men, start making all these babies and all over the place they're just babies. And I'm not just blaming men because women are just as guilty as the man. Men can't fertilize you if you're not allowing yourself to be fertilized. And I hate to use it in that term, but you can't be impregnated if you don't allow a man to impregnate you. So we can't always blame a man for actually children growing up in fatherless homes when women are getting with men who already have 6 kids and he's not in one of those homes. The nuclear family falls apart at that core. Not because same-sex couples. No. The nuclear family falls apart when we continue to watch salacious shows or listen to derogatory music that actually tear away the core of the nuclear family, whether it's heterosexual or homosexual. We feed into that instead of feeding into the very thing that really would help us thrive as a village. Why can't I think of his name? Oh, his name escapes me. He's on baby number 11. Eddie Murphy's got what, 10? I mean, it seems like money, when you got money, you have access. And access to money and having access allows you to connect to people that you probably wouldn't connect with. And then you have this opportunity to make more baby. I mean, it's just, this is a big issue, people. It's bigger, deeper, and also concerning on so many levels. But until we stop judging what we don't know, until we stop being stuck in a place that was, and start opening our minds up to what is, without judgment. If it doesn't work for you, that's fine. You don't have to shun it. You just don't get involved. You can be respectful. Until we start teaching our daughters and sons that, you know what, your body is a temple and you don't want to abuse it, and you don't want to link up with people that won't actually add to you but just continue to take away from you. Until we start there, until we start in those places, nothing's going to change. Until women start valuing their bodies and men start valuing their bodies, until people stop dating without considering what the purpose of the dating is, nothing's going to change. Thank you, Nick Cannon. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ira. I appreciate that. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. Until we stop looking at, again, thank you for that. Nick Cannon is, okay. You know, he's doing it. Nick, I don't know what Nick's reason is for procreating with so many different women and having all these babies. I don't know what it is. I don't know. The rapper Future and all these people. And I'm naming those people because they are individuals always in media. So just imagine if we see them in media, how many people live in the neighborhoods that's just making babies or people having babies all over. And no one's considering the system, the nuclear family, the crutch of the family. And that is parents and children working together to cohesively to actually broaden outside of that space just in the home, but into the community. Because see, when mom and dad or two dads or two moms raise children, those children eventually branch out from that nuclear family's home and go start their own family. And that's how we continue to grow and thrive. But truth be told, if we continue to look at the Nick Cannon and all those other individuals who are actually having all these babies and not making any better changes, well, nothing will change. Nothing at all. It all will be the same. All right, my people, that's the show. That's the show. I really appreciate you guys sharing, commenting, getting involved. Thank you for using the thumbs up button. That's much appreciated. It helps the show grow. Also, remember, please click the share button. Share the show with on your platform, your social media platforms. That also helps the show grow. And ask people to subscribe to the channel. Oh, so you hiding in the back, Pastor Sam. And again, I don't know which Pastor Sam this is. Is it the first lady or is it the pastor? But let me read the comment. But is it fair to say anyone is judging when the question asks, was someone believed? I'm sorry. When the question asks, was if someone believed if the change from the traditional nuclear family was doing better job or not? Oh, it's Donna. Hi, Donna. Okay. Well, Donna, what is your thoughts? Do you believe, based on that question, and reading it out loud again, but, wait, now you already said something. Oh, okay. It's fine. I just like to confirm who I'm talking to. Okay, wait. But I want to go back before I sign off. But is it fair to say anyone is judging when the question asked was if anyone believed that the change from the traditional nuclear family was doing better job or not? I see it. So now that you posed that and brought that back to the conversation really quickly, what do you guys think? Everybody in the chat, what do you think? That's Nick's nuclear family. We started off by saying all families look different. We did. And again, with all families looking different, thank you for pointing that out, Lakeisha. Very valid point. I want you to keep in mind when we talk about the nuclear family, the family system as a whole, there's issues within the family system. So the question becomes, for an example, I want you to walk away with this. Nick Cannon, his family system, his nuclear family system looks different. However, is his family system looking different? Is it a good thing in a way that is healthy? And that healthy environment, that family system will come out from the family umbrella and go out and become more healthier, or would it be something else? Because let me just hold that comment. It's a fair question, but would take another show to discuss. Absolutely. And remember, I said this was a series of conversation. We will wrap up our last conversation next week. That would be part 3 and the end of this series of conversation as it relates to the nuclear family. Yes, Donna, that was a valid point to bring back to. Thank you so much for doing that. And again, this conversation went in the direction because many of the people I was talking about part 2 of this was what were their concerns about the nuclear family and why does it look different? And many people, and I believe Jasmine was in the conversation, Jasmine Cross was in our show 1 last week when she was saying the nuclear family is different now because you have now that the LGBTQIA plus community has come part of how the family system looks now, it's different now. So when I'm talking to people, many people have, well, that's a problem. How can this be a nuclear family when it's 2 people of the same sex? This was a lot of feedback I got before today's show. A lot. Let's be very clear. A lot of feedback. Donna, when you are a Christian, you stand firm in your beliefs and will be looked at as judgmental and comes from, okay. Why is that bad? Donna, you want to answer that before I wrap up? Okay, also, it work. It. Sorry. So many people. Let me see. Just got done painting. Okay. Not a problem. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap up the show. We just went over our hour. I don't want to keep you because I always want to keep you coming back and having a conversation. Look, before you walk away from today's conversation, the thoughts, views, and opinions of everyone, including me, are ours. You don't have to buy into it. You don't have to accept it. You can just hear it. You can marinate on it and allow yourself to think about it on a deeper level. And it's not about, this conversation is not about trying to convince you to change your views. It's about having transparency conversations. That's what it's about. And if you walk away with something that was good and you're like, let me think about this, then hey, that's even better. Donna, this is your wrap up here. Let's see what you say. I don't think whether better or not is an answerable question. It is all relative. Also, just because things change doesn't make the change good or right. And we can't quote Bible scriptures only when they suit making our point of view. Very true, Donna. That's true. Very true. But many people do it all the time. All the time. They pull out that good old Bible and be like, well, let me read you with this. And let me get you straight with that. While they are on the other end, totally the opposite of that. But that's for another show. All right, my people, thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you. I will see you next week for part 3, which is the final of this. We will go back to the question that I asked in the beginning. Donna brought back to this question, to the topic, and we'll wrap it up with that. Please think about this show and what you shared here, and then please write a little couple things so when you can be like guns a blazing and you can share your thoughts. I really would appreciate that. I'm going to wrap up the show by leaving you this quote here. Look, don't waste a minute not being happy. If a window is closed, run to the next window or break down a door. Just get to being happy. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you next week. Same time, same beautiful channel. Until next time, be well and be good. And look, if no one told you that they love you, I do. See you next time. Bye.